Um,
This one's wife. Fucking useless. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. Now, as you know, I'm a narcissistic psychopath, and you're not. But we do have similarities, and I suspect one of those similarities is a recognition that certain things have key features. For instance, you've got a car, a key feature tends to be wheels. You have a house, a key feature tends to be the necessity of a roof. You have a computer, a key feature is having some form of keyboard. You've got a swimming pool, a key feature would be having water in it. And of course, videos about narcissism, a key feature would be having the unrivaled insight of your glorious narrator. But for somebody who apparently has a freakish eye for detail, key features are not her strong point. This one's wife well attracts the mantle of fucking useless. The reason being is that she is charisma-free, talent-free, not particularly bright, and governed by her narcissism to pursue the prime aims in the moment without due consideration for collateral consequences. All of those factors makes for a heady brew, whereby this one's wife creates a litany of failures. A book that's meant to be for children, which isn't actually for children in the slightest and doesn't sell accordingly. Clothing that doesn't fit her appropriately. A lifestyle brand called American Riviera Orchard that sold the square sum of fuck all. A political career that didn't even get started. Advocacy for parental leave that resulted in writing 2 letters and cold calling some senators and nothing more. You will be able to sit down and list this litany of failures, and as a consequence of my work, you are able to understand why this happens. It's driven by her fundamental problems of an absence of charisma, talent, and intelligence, all wrapped up in her narcissism. You see, her narcissism doesn't enable her to see that she's not popular or accept it. Her narcissism doesn't allow her to realize the limitations of her intelligence or talent. If it were not there, she wouldn't attempt the things at which she's inevitably going to fail. Her narcissism blinds her to those shortcomings, so she keeps trying and failing. And as I've explained to you before, her narcissism does not allow her to do, yeah, I buggered that up, didn't I? Or, yeah, that failed because I wasn't properly prepared. Or, that didn't work out because, let's face it, I haven't got the body of a model. No. It keeps telling her it failed because there wasn't preparatory work undertaken by the staff, that she was ill-advised, that it wasn't the right day of the week, that it was the royal family briefing against her, that it was the hateful British media that had caused the problem. Any range of excuses, from the moon was in the wrong phase to the fact that Harry had put the wrong coloured underpants on, resulted in the fact that that's why it didn't work out. Or alternatively, she does believe that it is a success and simply doesn't accept that it was a failure. But once again, this one's wife demonstrates her freakish eye for detail, her painstaking approach that apparently keeps up all night worrying about packaging, as there's another failure in relation to As Ever. A YouTuber purchased one of her candles, which is the latest expansion of the Potemkin brand, which is As Ever. And as a consequence of that, the YouTuber purchased the $64 signature candle number 84 and undertook an unboxing. Now, leaving aside the naughtiness of purchasing a product of this one's wife and putting money into her pocket, what this also revealed was that the candle arrived without a wick. The podcaster announced, "You guys, there's no wick," and held the candle up to the camera to show viewers the empty hole where it ought to have been. The individual stated, "Am I crazy? Where is the thing that I light? This has to be a joke." The podcaster insisted the moment wasn't staged, adding, "There's literally nothing to light in here." When the producer suggested the wick might be hidden, the podcaster responded, "No, it's not pasted down." And the podcaster then declared, "This is like this one's wife's career failure to launch." Now, assuming that that wasn't staged, and the podcaster claims that it was not, if this is accurate, and this is another product of this one's wife which demonstrates the lack of attention to detail, it's like providing a paintbrush that has no bristles, or pans with no handles, pillows with no stuffing, perfume with no spray nozzle, shower heads with no holes. The key feature is missing. For a candle to burn, unless it's a specifically wickless candle, and they do exist, but that isn't one of them, you need a wick, because it needs to be lit, and there needs to be a flame which melts the wax, and then the wax evaporates and keeps the flame going. This one's wife sold a candle that has no wick. Presumably, there'll be others like it. Now, she hasn't caused this to happen. After all, she doesn't make the candles herself. She doesn't make anything of her As Ever range. It is simply a white label production whereby she buys in stuff from other people, slaps her boring label on it, and then grifts it to dim-witted sugars and the occasional podcaster that deigns to purchase the items. Thus, it hasn't slipped through her quality control. But the point is that were this anybody else, it probably wouldn't get a mention, because most people would think to themselves, it's a one-off, these things occasionally happen, it's a little bit like getting a Kit Kat which hasn't got any wafer and it's all solid chocolate. Oh, that's a more favourable outcome, one that people would perhaps rather like, as opposed to receiving a candle with no wick. It doesn't appear that there's an entire batch that have gone that way. We haven't had any further reports of it. But the point is that not only does a podcaster deem it appropriate to bring this to the attention of the world through their podcast, but then it gets picked up by certain media outlets that amplify it. And this all goes to demonstrate something. Not only is this one's wife unpopular, hence people jump on the opportunity to ridicule things such as this and point out another failure on her behalf, but it's also the case that she has a reputation now for failure. A reputation, as this podcaster stated, a failure to launch. A reputation for being rubbish. A reputation for being fucking useless. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.